have just a few things to go over tonight. First of all, can you believe, again, we're already in week 3. I always say the time flies by, but it really does. So we're actually, you know, past the halfway of the middle of week 3, meaning we basically have a week and a half left, and pretty soon we're going to be at the end of our class. So I wanted to bring up really quick experiential credit. This comes up from time to time. Those of you who have worked in an ECE related career, maybe in a daycare or a child care, if you have worked there at least 6 months, there is a chance that you can receive experiential credit for doing so. And you could basically be able to skip your externship. So the point of an externship is to give you experience. But if you've already had that experience in the form of experiential credit, we take that into account. So I want you guys to all know about that and know that it's something that you can apply for. And we look at it as a group and decide if this would be best for you. So experiential credit, and let me know if you have any questions about that. I'd be glad to help you out. Also, be sure and post early to our discussion boards, and I looked at a few from last night. I'm going to bring something up here in just a minute. Have assignments turned in by Sunday at midnight, and please remember to take your quiz ASAP so that you can retake it if needed. I've been really happy with the turnout in the quizzes and the number of you that are retaking to get that higher score. So good job on that. Keep that up. Let me see real quick. I was reading Sarah's post real quick. You worked 3 days this week, Monday through Wednesday. Oh, good. Good. And Stephanie contacted me and says you were interested in working at a grade school. So I'm so happy to hear that, Sarah. I think that would be great for externship. And Bailey, the application is, well, they call it experiential credit, but they also call it PLA. And I believe it's previous learning application. So if you contacted your admissions rep or Bridget, who is our registrar, they would send this to you in an email, your PLA application, and it will tell you what to do, Bailey. Okay? So PLA. Oh, fantastic, Sarah. That would be great. Yeah, doing your externship at your kids' school, I love that. I love that. And, you know, it's just so nice to be there with them, too, isn't it? So part of your learning experience, but also being in contact with the kids. Fantastic, guys. I mentioned the discussion board. I want to bring something up real quick because I noticed a number of you on your discussion boards. I believe it was the first one. I'm not sure what that was, Brittany. Brittany's putting random characters up. Oh, your son stepped on the laptop. It won't be the first time. I completely understand that. I have had some strange things pop up before. That's funny. Okay, so, oh, to give you a kiss. Well, that's even better, Brittany. So I wanted to bring up our Learning Centers discussion. It looked like several of you were sort of not quite understanding what I meant, so I wanted to clarify real quick. You know, this comes up from time to time. I'll type something in and I will make this assumption that it sounds right, and sometimes it doesn't. So learning centers, of course, is a term that we could use for a daycare, a preschool, any type of child development center. We might call it a learning center. But specifically, what we were looking for in this week's discussion board is a learning center within a classroom. So we're going to go over this just real quick. A learning center is a self-contained section of an early childhood classroom. or it could also be preschool or kindergarten, in which students engage in independent and self-directed learning activities. So here's a few examples. You might have a block center, a literacy center with books and a place to read, a science center, math, discovery, and kind of a new one that we're starting to see is the muscle center. And that's where children can work their muscles, so they might have various activities to do. Also, a sand and water center is very common and so important. Or you might have a board games center. If you had older children that could understand the concepts of taking turns and following the rules on board games, you might have this type of center. So in the discussion board, I want you to think about that type of learning center. And if you need to go in and correct your initial post to the discussion board, what you could do is go to your thread and then just reply to it, because when I start to grade these, I'll be able to see your reply and go, okay, this is where she corrected that. Okay? So I wanted you guys to be sure, because I want you to get all the points, and I want you to understand specifically what I was talking about there. And I apologize if I didn't explain enough. That can totally happen sometimes. Oh no, no audio. I'm sorry, Katrina. Let me see. I know you can't hear this, but sometimes headphones helps. Sometimes you can get your sound through your headphones. And they don't work either. Oh no! I can't think of any other fixes there that you could do just off the top of my head. I mean, restarting is always a good idea. Anybody else got any ideas on audio issues? That might be an idea too, Sarah. That's even more of a reboot. Yeah. Okay, so while Katrina's working on that, I'm sorry she can't hear us, because I know that's hard to deal with as well, especially with a live lecture. I wanted to bring up a few tips about learning centers too, because they are so important. Number one, when you're setting up a learning center in your classroom, it's really easy to define the space of each learning center, either by using throw rugs or bookcases as blocks, so that you can have a nice separation. You might use curtains if you need to. When you first begin the year, the younger the child, the longer it takes to transition into learning centers. So at the first of the year, what you might start with is a tour of your learning centers and telling them what each of them contain and some of the things that you can do at each center. And also, it's real important with the younger children that you don't have too many items at each center as well. So keep it pretty simple. The older they get, or maybe in the second half of the semester, is when you can add more complex ideas. Also, keep materials accessible to them, well-defined in containers. Store your teacher materials at the center too. Maybe you have some type of a running tally method, or you're observing some behaviors. You might have a clipboard high up that you could easily get to. Stock your center sparingly, already brought that up. Set up portable centers. Now, these are sort of wonderful. Let me get my pointer out. We're down here on number 6. A portable center would be one that you can take to other parts of the classroom, and a nice like Rubbermaid tub. I don't know if you can see my hands. A nice Rubbermaid tub is great for these. So an example would be, maybe you have a blocks center, but it's small and you've got one child at it already. You could have another blocks box that could easily be taken to another part of the classroom, so another child could play with the blocks as well. So portable centers are great. Some teachers use portable centers for rainy days. So maybe they need to get out a few extra things. You're having to stay inside, and you might have additional learning centers for those days. Number 7, make some sort of rules chart, and it's great to set the rules with your class. Almost every grade level really appreciate the idea of being able to help out with making the rules. And you know, sometimes the little ones come up with a rule that maybe we hadn't thought of. So get them in on the process, have the rules posted, and earlier in the year you may need to go over these rules every day to get them used to them. Number 8, display the child's work. If you have maybe an art center, have a place where these can be put up, they can see them, and parents can admire them. Number 9, set up a work in progress shelf. So maybe they're working on it in the art center and they didn't quite get done, but it's time for lunch or it's time to go outside. So it's nice to have a spot where they can set their little work of art so that they can come back to it maybe the next day or later on that day. And then lastly, create a take-home box or a take-home bag so that when they finish at their centers and they have something they need to take home, it can easily go in this box to go with them. So that's just a few ideas of when you're working with learning centers, because a lot of places use these. They're really amazing. Okay, student question of the week. Let me see. Let me check in real quick. I don't know if Katrina's still working. Headphone parts, restart. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sometimes you can go out of Blackboard and come back in. She's still logged in, so I know she's here. And there's Jasmine as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Goodness, that's 11, guys. Fantastic. Hi, Jasmine. Yep, it's official. This is our biggest turnout yet. Okay, our student question of the week. Can I make up a missed Pinterest assignment? Yes, you can. What I usually do is on Mondays, I go in. Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you're here, Jasmine. On Mondays, usually in the morning or afternoon, I will go into my instructor Pinterest page, and that's where I grade on. So I click on each of your names, I find your board, I look at them. I usually tell you if I like them or not because you've got so many great ideas. And then I get your points and I put them in my course connections. So what can happen is maybe you missed the Sunday deadline. And maybe you did your Pinterest page, but it was on Tuesday after I had graded. What I usually try to do is the following Monday, when I go back into Pinterest again, I will check to see if you have created that board or made up another board. So I want to encourage you guys to do that because these are worth 100 points each, and I don't want you to miss out on them, and I love grading them. So please do. Please do make those up. Yes, oh, and that's right, sir. Some people go ahead and work ahead as well. And please know that I usually don't grade the boards ahead of time, but I will, even if you've done one 2 weeks before it's due, I will grade it in the week it's due. So it's not that I haven't seen it yet, it's just that I haven't graded them. I like to do them as a group, okay? So be sure, if you have missed a Pinterest board, go in and build it, and yes, you can still get points for it. That's what I want. Okay? All right, let's go over final project eFolio, right? I know a lot of you are already working on this. We've went over a few different sections. I'm going to bring a couple things up tonight that will maybe help you out. Remember that PowerPoint or Google Docs works fantastic for this project. So basically in part 1, you're probably going to have at least 11 or 12 slides if you were to have one item on each slide. And then in part 2, you're going to have, 1, 2, 3, 4 more items. So we could say you're probably going to have a minimum of at least 15 slides, possibly 16 if you do a cover slide. So be working on this. Don't wait till the last minute. I believe it was in week 1 I showed you an example of a mission statement. So you're going to come up with a mission statement. Just today, guys, I found a breakfast, snack, lunch template that I had forgotten that I had. Since you're doing breakfast, snack, and lunch for 1 month, remember this is going to take some time, I have a template that I will send you in the email. So keep an eye out in the email. Let me make myself a note real quick. A good template, it's actually for 1 week, but you could do it 4 times to get your full month's worth of menus. So I'll send that to everyone. I showed you last week the Boo-Boo report. You'll need to find an accident report. Then you've got interview questions for infant teacher, preschool teacher, school-age teacher, and assistant director. So these are all on the internet. They're easy to find, but you're going to have to create a list of 10 questions you, as a center director, could ask someone applying for these different jobs. So I'm putting you in the driver's seat, okay? Number 8, new employee orientation checklist. I'm going to show you one in a minute. And then you're going to start on job descriptions for infant and toddler teacher, preschool teacher, school-age teacher. Again, these are on the internet. You can find them fairly easy. Find one that you think is a good description and put that in your PowerPoint. Okay, so our example really quick. This is a Child Development Center new employee orientation checklist. I want you to develop something similar to this. Let me go back. Okay, you need to have 20 items. I think I've got 12 on this one, so this one's a little short. So you need to come up with the items that you would have on your list. Something a new employee would need to know. They would need to know the hours of operation for your center, their position, maybe who their supervisor is. That could be split into 2 actually. The role of the director, the role of the supervisor, you could go in descriptions. The employee's daily and weekly schedule, because you want them to know before they show up the hours and the days that they need to be there. And I know this seems like a really silly thing, but I have had this happen before when I just show up for day 1 and I'm really not sure when day 2 is going to happen. I remember working fast food and it was similar. Okay, so their daily and weekly schedule, employee entering and exiting policy, what doors do they need to use, their pay periods, how to fill out timesheets, that could be a second one as well. If they wear name tags or smocks, if there's a uniform, leave policies if they're having issues, staff scheduling, phone usage, lounge, smoke policy, all these things that they really need to know. Visitor policy, and if a visitor needs to wear a name tag, most centers have this built in. Constructive problem solving, and confidently to include the chain of command. So if there is an issue, that employee needs to know who should I speak to first. And if the issue doesn't get settled, who do I speak to second? So it's very important to follow the chain of command, and a basic daily schedule so that they know what's basically going to happen hour to hour. I think the things that makes new employees the most nervous is not knowing. So with our new employee checklist, we want to give them the tools that they need to relax and to feel confident that they're doing the job they're supposed to be doing, right? Okay, so that's your employee checklist example. Our second part of our final project portfolio is a layout for a classroom, and you guys may have noticed that you did that in Pinterest, so you could use one of those from Pinterest. The list of supplies for your floor plan, the basic things that you would need. Would you need cribs? Would you need bookcases? Would you need, you know, the list can kind of go on and on. It doesn't have to be too detailed, but I want the main things that will be in the room. Maybe you'll have a small play center. Also, a layout. No, you don't have to list prices, Bailey. It's actually an option. You could, and that would give you an idea of how much it would really cost to supply one classroom, but you don't have to do that for this class, okay? And also the layout of the playground. Again, we did that this week in our Pinterest assignment. So I tried to tie some of these things together with our Pinterest assignments so that you basically have some of these things already. And then your list of items needed to supply the playground. Example, if you're going to use one of those big things, attached playground center, $30,000, you need to look it up and see what are the items that you would need for that playground. And the internet is a great resource. Okay, here's an example of a classroom layout floor plan. And I would like for you guys just to take a moment to look at this. What are they called? On the playground equipment, that's a good question, that Jessica. Exactly. I wouldn't know. Play centers, play modules may be a term that could be used. Playground modules. Yeah. For the big play centers that you put out on the playgrounds themselves, Sarah. So on this classroom layout, I'd like for you guys to look at it. This is 2 infant rooms. Add-ons, yeah, that might be another term that you could search for as well. Okay, so I'd like for you to look at this setup. So these are 2 infant rooms that were built back to back. And you can see it's sort of a mirror image of the other classroom. So you'd have a dividing wall right down the middle. First of all, we have eating cubbies and tables when you first walk in the area. Diapering area that's in the room itself. Some centers have a separate room that you go for diaper change. And which is okay if you have plenty of teachers. However, sometimes it's hard to step out of the classroom to do this. So I think it's great that they've included this in the room. We've also got a crib area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cribs. We've got a small enclosed play area, and we've got 4 probably rocking chairs over here by the windows. So knowing what you know from the books or from working with children or from working in centers, tell me if you like this classroom layout or if there's something you would change about it. So just take a moment to look at this floor plan. Oh, Lita, you like it? You like the setup? Could you sort of see yourself teaching in that classroom? You could. Well, good, good. Sarah would move the chairs to another place and place the play area Oh, where the chairs are? I could see that too, to make the play area a little bit bigger. It's nice, not too much going on for infants. That's right, Jessica. That's right. There's really, really just one little play area. A reading area would be great. Yeah, a little bookshelf. Yeah, that does make sense, Bailey. Yeah. And one thing that I didn't know if anyone would catch this, one thing that I would change would be moving these two cribs that are sort of in the center. I think I would move them over by the wall. I think with a little scooting around of these cribs, you could place them along the wall and have that center area a little more opened up. And because I also don't like the idea of that many infants being close together. When one goes off, the one right next door may go off as well, and pretty soon we have lots of crying babies. So sometimes it's better if you can separate them a little bit. Exactly, Bailey. You don't want them beside each other and right in front of each other. It's really hard to get them to sleep that way, isn't it? And a tummy time rug would be fantastic. That's right, Lita. Good job, guys. I want you to be able to look at these things, because who knows, someday you may be picking out floor plans for your own daycare. So here's an example of a playground layout or a playground floor plan. You can pretty much use either of those terms interchangeably. I know this looks a little different, but what I like about this is, so we have the circles over here, just trees. So we've got little trees here and there, a little shade. And I like this little track that goes around the outside. So I think that would be great for little bicycles and scooters. And that would keep them off the playground equipment. Then you've got a little module here in the center. We've got slides, a deck area, some various climbing obstacles. This looks like the swinging pendulum things. And I don't know if this is a twisty slide over here or a little small section. So this, to me, looks like a pretty neat setup. Oh, at your entrance, they have cribs in all corners of the room. That's a good idea, Brittany. Yeah, I like that, rather than right next to each other. So here's an example of a playground layout. Again, you guys found some of these for your Pinterest assignment, so you already have some on your boards that you're welcome to use simply by copying that image into either a PowerPoint or a Google slide. So I want you to use some of the things that you've already found. You need a blueprint? There you go. Okay, so 8:30, we've got just a few things to cover in Chapter 7. Let me back up real quick. Did anybody have any questions on the final project while we're there? Does everybody, are you picturing it? Is it coming together? You're going to have one of these items on each of your slides. You're putting together all this information as you would as a center director. DJ is what? Hi, DJ. I know, Bailey, it can seem very overwhelming. It can seem kind of scary. You're right. But as you do it a little bit at a time, I think it will fall together. The number, Opal, do you mean like how many slides you need? Sarah, exactly. Yeah, so Opal, on part 1, you're going to have around 11 slides. Now, I say 11 to 12 because you might have a beginning slide with maybe your name on it and our course number. So for part 1, if you would have a slide for each of these items, that would be great. And then for part 2, You've got the layout of the classroom. You can have that on one slide. Oh, just on the mission statement. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the items, and then the playground, and then the items again. I want to be sure you guys have this so I can see some fantastic things. Now, on the mission statement, a mission statement, I don't have a copy of that in this PowerPoint. I wish I did. A mission statement is basically, pretend like you're starting a center, and in your mission statement, it's going to be about a paragraph long. You're going to say the name of your business and what your main goals are in your business. For instance, child development, physical development, emotional development, or maybe you're going to be more of a preschool, getting them ready for success in kindergarten. So you come up with what your main focus is for your center. And you can find lots of these online as well. If you just type in childhood center mission statement or daycare mission statement, you'll have several of them pop up, and that'll give you some idea of kind of how to shape this. Yeah, and it doesn't really need to be that long. Like I said, about one paragraph is all you'll need. Does that make sense? Yes, the college is open. We don't get spring break, Lita. We have no spring break. We have no Christmas break. We just keep on keeping on. That's right. So we'll be there. Yeah, it'll be open, and I'll be there on Tuesday as normal. Okay, Chapter 7. Let's talk about the physical environment, which we've already kind of covered a little bit. The physical environment for the children and also for the teachers. Here's an example of an indoor area. Oh, great, Lita. That'd be great. I'll be there. Fantastic. Here's an example of an indoor area, and to me, this looks like a room that could be in someone's home. Maybe this is an in-home daycare, and they've taken one room in their house. Maybe they've taken a garage, and they have converted it into a daycare center. And I think this is really great for a small number of children. You've got a cute little table in the center with a place for the teacher and the kids. You've got various play centers over here to the side. It's nicely organized. The bins are over here with probably blocks and Legos and things of that sort. It looks like we've got stuffed toys on a shelf. We've got an easel for art, some little maybe math or shapes up on the walls, and then more play supplies over here on the right-hand side. So I wanted you guys to see this as an example of something you can actually do in a fairly small space, right? Oh, let me see, what did Sarah put in? Maybe I can talk you hubby into buying the house that's empty next door, knock the walls down a bit. Yeah, amen, definitely. That would be fantastic. It would be right next door. That could be actually a really good setup, couldn't it? Well, I do too, because we focus so much on centers, but please know that, it's definitely a thing to have a smaller center where you can focus on just a few children and run that out of your home. Never have to go anywhere. You're there. It's been open for 3 years. Oh, there you go. It could be a business investment, right? Oh, you'd have to include gardening. Yes, definitely. And chickens. Yes. So some important parts of your physical environment, the environment that you're creating, is, of course, you're going to have some areas for privacy for children. You're going to have some soft areas, small areas for quiet activities such as reading or art, physical boundaries to reduce some distraction. If it's inside, we might be dealing with bookshelves. Bookshelves are great dividers. Large spaces for more active play, large group activities, and organized spaces and clear spaces. And so I think that first picture is actually a good example of all of these things. They seem to have almost all of that in there. Okay, here's another daycare floor plan. If you'll look at this one, let me get my little pointer out. The first one was just a single classroom, and here we have 1, 2, 3 classrooms. You'll notice the 2 on the left are a little bit smaller. The one in the front might be great for an infant classroom, and the larger one might be better for toddlers. They need a little more space. We've got a handicap ramp up front. We've got doors leading out every room for emergency purposes or to go outside. We've got a nice, kind of a small hallway, a kitchenette for cooking, an office, bathrooms, and then a laundry. So this is an example of a daycare center that could be placed on an existing lot. And you know, to me, this looks like a prefab. This might be a mobile home that's moved in fact, because just the way it's sort of long and skinny in the setup of it. This is definitely a possibility. There are businesses that do this. You have your land ready to go, you move it in, and with a little work, you're ready to get started. So that would be an example of a floor plan. The classroom space that you create, you like the one where the cribs were? Yeah, exactly. The classroom that you create should reflect your program philosophy. Is it Montessori? Is it Reggio Emilia? Are you really into bright colors and designs? So it needs to fit the feel of your program. It should be developmentally appropriate for the children in the program. Be attractive, nice to look at, promotes appropriate self-help skills because we want them to learn how to care for themselves. And provide space for children to store their personal belongings. It's important to have a little cubby for each kid for their things. Also, your classroom space should be set up so that you can have small and large group activities. Have them choice areas so that if they don't want to do what's happening at the time, maybe they're not interested in art, they want to go read, give them that option that they can opt out and make a choice. Give them alone or quiet time because some kids really need that. Designed to keep loud and quiet activities apart if possible. Have videos or net ready. Yeah, that'd be a good idea, Lita. Exactly. Oh, for next week. You were talking about videos for next week. Have soft environments, and here's the thing, guys, soft environments help absorb sound. Stuffed toys, rugs, carpeting, those foam rubber mats, all of those help decrease some of the sound in the classroom too. And of course you want to have pathways that are easy to navigate. Okay, here's another example which is really fantastic. So this is a larger center this time. And I love the way they have this color coded. This was the one that I put up on Pinterest. Let's start with the entrance, which is right here. Nice open area. You've got a lobby in the center. And from the lobby, you can easily get to each of these classrooms. If you'll notice, see the purple room and the blue room sort of at the front? Notice that these classrooms are connected on the outside by the outdoor play area. So this might be the 2-year-old section. You might have this one where the green and the yellow is as your 3-year-old. So you're same age group could be together, and your same age group could be playing outside together. It makes it really easy to have developmentally appropriate materials. Over here we've got the orange and the red room and their outdoor area, and you'll also notice that these classrooms have bathrooms in the classroom. I love that. And then, oh, a security guard. Well, exactly. These would all be, I'm sure, fenced as well. Yep. A security guard would actually be great for the lobby area. That's true. And surely these gates, because you have a gate towards the outside, those would have to be locked as well. That's right. I'm glad you're thinking of safety too. And then down here at the very end, we have what's called the rainbow room. I'm guessing that's where everybody can get together. Maybe it's a small activity room, or with small bleachers for activities, for presentations. So this little hallway would also serve as probably offices out to the side too. So this would have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classrooms, and a large activity area and 3 outdoor areas. That's going to cost you a little bit of money to build. Right? Parents' fingerprints to get in the door. They do that sometimes. They do. Yeah. Okay, classroom space. We want it safe and healthy. We want carpet in some areas to help decrease noise, but goodness, carpet gets stinky and hard to clean too, right? So it's good to have tile or wood in other sections. Readily available water source for messy activities. So those water areas you need to be able to clean up easy. Have appropriate lighting and the use of natural light when possible. And Lita, this makes me think of the Educare Center, all the natural light that they had coming in. Be flexible, rearrange the space to support the current group of children. Sometimes you have to change the classroom arrangement as the year goes through, as you discover issues. Maybe you have runners in a certain group and you need to decrease running in the classroom. May take a little furniture change, so it's good to have some flexibility. So here's our outdoor activities, and wow, wouldn't this be amazing? I'm guessing this would be for an older age group. I think maybe kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade would have a great time in here. Notice that as the layers go up, as the stories go up, they're all enclosed so you don't have any fall risk there. This ginormous slide, I want to go down it myself. And you've got a nice rubberized cushion down here at the bottom too, as your outdoor flooring. You still like the milk jug igloo? I do too, Lita. Your outdoor play structures, you know, there's so many companies that specifically build these for early childhood, and they try to cover all the safety issues, but I've actually seen some on playgrounds that were for a certain age group that just weren't appropriate. Maybe they had open areas on a higher platform where a child could fall off easily. So you can, you know, trust them, but also use your own instincts as far as the safety and the design goes. Of course, we want social interaction. You want privacy for some children that don't want to play together because we're not all built the same. Sometimes children need that alone time to sort of chill out and decompress and de-stress a little bit. So it's good to have those areas as well. Of course, securely anchored, in good repair, and meet safety guidelines. Here we go to Imagination Playground. Have you guys ever seen these before? I think I put a video up in week 3 of Imagination Playground. I really want to play with one of these. They really do. You do, that's right. These are like great big foam tinker toys or blocks where, oh, they had some at the Children's Museum in Tulsa. I love that, Tina. I just feel like this is such an experience for children to get to build and experiment and create different things over and over. Every time they go out, their playground can change. So I'm really a big fan of this. In fact, I went to, here's an example of Imagination Playground that they put the pieces together. So I had to go to a site visit for one of our externs at Playtime Plus in Tulsa, and they have one of these. They had, it's a sort of a starter kit, but their director won one in a little competition. So they actually have an Imagination Playground in Playtime Plus over on 51st Street. Oh wow, that's neat.